Hello everybody, and today I'll be doing a Fazbear Frights book tier list. So this tier list will be going from book 1 all the way to Felix the Shark, and with the scrap stories and stuff like that. So this will be going over all the stories from Into the Pit all the way into You're the Band, which is the final story from Felix the Shark. So I actually finally finished reading Felix the Shark about in November last year. And yeah, so that means I've finished all of the Fazbear Frights books. So first of all, I'm just going to move all the epilogues down, so I'm not going to be ranking those. Is Into the Pit. I think this is a S tier. This story is great. Great first start of the time-traveling ball pit. That's a really cool idea. With the 5 murders originally from 1985. That's a really good story. Definitely one of the best ones. Then you have To Be Beautiful, also another S tier. Eleanor is a really cool villain, and she appears in the Stitch Wave Stingers as well, which is pretty cool. She's a cool new villain for the series, but she doesn't really get explained that much, like especially in the encyclopedia that I did a review on last week or maybe 2 weeks ago. It depends on when this video is coming out, but she didn't really get that much information in the encyclopedia. But she's still a pretty cool story, really nice idea. Then we have Count the Ways, another S tier story. Funny thing is, you'll notice throughout this start of this video, most of the stories will be S tier because all the old stories are really good and new stories are kind of bad. But yeah, Count the Ways, another cool one with Funtime Freddy about death, and Funtime Freddy knows all the ways to kill you, which is a bit weird, and see how does he know all that? But still pretty cool story. Millie's a cool character as well. Then we have Fetch, another S tier story. Fetch is a really cool character. They have the little what is it called, battery pack that is inside the Stitch Wave. That's really cool. They've got a really cool setting with like the ocean side, where the Freddy Fazbear Pizza is, and a cool idea with like Fetch being able to connect to technology even though he's like really old. Then we have Lonely Freddy, another really cool S tier one. Lonely Freddy has got a cool idea with like being able to swap personalities or swap just souls entirely, and swap bodies. Which with like Alec swapping to Lonely Freddy and Lonely Freddy swapping to Alec's body. Really cool idea. Then Out of Stock, my favorite Fazbear Fright story, including Plush Chub, which is my favorite FNaF, one of my favorite FNaF characters. Probably my like third place favorite FNaF character. But this story is incredible. Definitely the best one, right next to Bunny Call. I'll do a review on Bunny Call later though. But Out of Stock has got a really cool idea with Plush Trap Chaser, which moves in dark, freezes in light, with human teeth and human eyes, which that's a really cool idea. It works the best for like a Fazbear Frights short story, short movie. It can work really good for a short film. Like if it was just a 10-minute film about this plush up chaser, it'll work perfectly. So the story is really cool, really nice like setting. Like I think it's before Halloween night, I'm pretty sure. Then we have the next book, 1:35 a.m. I think 1:35 a.m. is another S tier story. This story is really cool. Ella is actually really creepy since Delilah doesn't know where Ella is the whole time. And Ella just follows her around everywhere. Even when Delilah goes into like a really old abandoned building, like an abandoned office building, goes into one of the vents and they get stuck in there, and she's stuck in there forever. But at least she's away from Ella, which is really sad and depressing, but still a really cool story. Then we have Room for One More. I won't say it's as good as these ones, but it's still a cool story about the sister location, and I'm pretty sure the guy's name was Stanley, and the Minarinias crawl in his mouth. It's a cool idea, but it's not as good as the originals. Then we have The New Kid, another really cool story about like Fredbear and old Freddy Fazbear Pizza locations. Kelsey, this new kid, comes to school, and then Devin, I'm pretty sure his name was, takes him to old Freddy Fazbear Pizza to build a new base. And then they find a Fredbear suit. Well, it's shown as Fredbear in this artwork I'm showing right now, but they find a Fredbear suit, and Kelsey crawls inside of it, spring locks snap, and then Kelsey gets stuck in the suit. And yeah, pretty cool story about spring locks and stuff. Step Closer, a really cool story about Foxy. Foxy like curses Pete and makes him go for all this stuff where he's losing an eye and an arm. It's like a fish hook nearly grabs his eye, butcher knife nearly cuts off his arm, all that type of stuff, and like a finger trap nearly cuts off his finger. All that type of stuff. Then we have Dance With Me, another cool story about Ballora. Ballora's a really cool character to explore. She doesn't really get explored much in the games, but she like follows Casey, I'm pretty sure her name was. But she gets followed around by Ballora with these glasses where like you put the glass on, Ballora's spinning, and then every time she puts the glasses on, Ballora comes closer and closer and closer to her. So then when she's like really close, she gives the glasses back to the family that she stole them from, and then yeah, all that type of stuff. Then we have Coming Home, a story about Chica, actually. I'll move it to A tier since it's a really cool story, and it's really sad as well. It's about Samantha and Susie. Susie's the girl that possesses Chica in the games, and Samantha is Susie's sister in the book. And yeah, it's quite sad, and Chica takes away Susie. And then we have Bunny Call, an S tier story, honestly. If a Fazbear Fright book was a game, a Bunny Call would definitely be worked best as a game. Like as a fan game. I hope someone makes a fan game about Bunny Call. That'd be really cool. So the story is about Bob. He's at like a campsite, and he orders Ralpho Bunny, to wake his family up in the morning. And yeah, and then he decides to cancel it, but Ralpho keeps trying to get in. And then the ending is really cool as well, and really scary actually, because the ending says that the guy who works as a Ralpho, like goes in a suit and wakes people up, overslept. And that is a really cool question about like who was Ralpho. Ralpho was obviously a person, because they're not animatronic, because they started bleeding when Bob closed the window on them, like stabbed them with a knife or something. So yeah, it's really weird. Then we have In the Flesh. This story gets a lot of hate, but I wouldn't say it's horrible, but it's not really good either. So it just goes in the middle tier. It's about like a guy who gets glitched by Springtrap in a Springtrap's Revenge game, and then he cuts his stomach open, and then Springtrap calls out. It's like a tiny little plush chop guy. Then we have Man in Room 1280, a really cool setting for a story in a hospital with a really cool main character as the priest, which is surprising for a FNaF story. We've never had like a priest in the series before. So yeah, a really cool story about like William Afton and Cassidy, or Andrew. Andrew, I'm pretty sure, is in this story, who's one of the kids who possesses the Stitch Wraith with the alligator mask. Yeah, that's a pretty cool story, really nice setting, all of that. Now we go into 2021 Fazbear Frights. This is all 2020 at the top here. Now we go into 2021 with Blackbird. Blackbird's a really cool story. It's really similar to 1:35 AM, but it's still cool. It's got a new character, a new villain, Blackbird, of course. And yeah, it's about like talking about your mistakes and mistakes in life, all that type of stuff. But it's really cool story. Then we have The Real Jake, another really sad story. I'll put it in B tier since it doesn't really have anything to do with FNaF, but it has a lot to do with the Stitch Wraith. Jake is one of the kids who possesses the Stitch Wraith in the Stitch Wraith Stingers, along with Andrew, and yeah, and I think his name was Simon. Simon is the little doll in Jake's closet, and talks to Simon over time, all the time he's in bed, because Jake has cancer, and eventually passes away at the end of the story. And Simon's head actually becomes part of the Stitch Wraith. Then we have Hide and Seek, a really cool story about Shadow Bonnie. So this guy, I don't remember his name, I haven't read the story in like 2 years, but this guy goes to he works at the Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, and goes to the Shadow Bonnie minigame, and Shadow Bonnie gets attached to him, and then eventually he destroys the minigame, and yeah. And then Shadow Bonnie becomes part of him. So we have The Cliffs, next story, 7th Fazbear Fright book. The Cliffs is a really cool story. It's quite sad, because a single father loses his son, and that's the only part of him that's left, that's part of his life that he has left. And the story is about suicide, because there's a suicide, or Jumper's Cliff, I'm pretty sure it was called in the book, where the father goes to Jumper's Cliff to kill himself because his son goes missing and presumably kidnapped. But the tag-along Freddy tells him to go to Cliffs, but because his son is actually there. His son actually walked into the Cliffs and went into a cave. So yeah, next story is The Breaking Wheel. I'd say it is a B tier story. It doesn't really have much to do with FNaF, but if it was just a normal horror story, it would work really well. But it just doesn't really have anything to do with FNaF. It has no FNaF stuff in it. But Reed and Julius is like a big bully of the school, and Julius has a whole robot, and Reed has like a little tiny robot, and Reed pushes Julius into his endoskeleton, and then Reed's remote for the his small robot controls Julius' robot, and mangles Julius, and his bones are all broken when Reed sees him. Reed sees Julius at his house. Then we have He Told Me Everything, D-tier story. This is where Fazbear Frights goes down into the bad category. He Told Me Everything is about Fazgoo, and this one kid does an experiment with his science class, and the Fazgoo becomes just part of him, and like the Fazgoo takes all his organs and becomes a new version of him. I'm pretty sure the kid's name was Chris. Then we have, in my opinion, the worst Fazbear Fright books. Gumdrop Angel, D-tier story. I don't know how Fazbear Entertainment can make like a gumdrop that you eat and you become like a whole candy person. Bit weird. Then we have Sergio's Lucky Day. I say this story is a C tier. It wasn't as bad as Gumdrop Angel, but it doesn't really have that many redeeming qualities. The ending is pretty cool though, where the guy, I forgot his name, Sergio, it's literally in the title, I don't know how I forgot his name, cuts all his features off, like his ears, his nose, because he says that they're too big, and Lucky Boy, which is the old Balloon Boy figure, tells him to cut them off because they look ugly, and he's going to a high school reunion and wants to look cool and popular and successful. Then we have What We Found. Pretty bad story. It's all over the place. It's about FNaF 3 and hallucinations and stuff. Springtrap is hanged onto a wall, which is pretty cool. I think that'd be cool for like in a FNaF game where Springtrap is actually hung up like an attraction in Fazbear's Frights. Then we have the Puppet Carver, another D-tier story about Fazgoo again. So the puppets on the front cover of the book aren't actually in the story. They're just there for some reason. But the story is about Fazgoo, and it's really weird and vague. Then we have Jump for Tickets, pretty bad story. Character's honestly pretty dumb as well. He gets stuck in the ticket pulverizer, I'm pretty sure that's what it was called. I don't remember. Haven't read the story in like a year. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it's called, and then he gets crushed to death. Pizza Kit is a C-tier story. It's about Marley and Peyton. They go to a Freddy Fazbear's pizza factory where they like make the pizzas and stuff. And Marley gets lost, and Peyton thinks that Marley becomes part of her pizza. Like all of Marley's body parts are in the pizza. And it's really disturbing, but most of it's in Peyton's head. So yeah. Then we have Friendly Face. I wasn't really a big fan of Friendly Face. People say it's a really good story, but I wasn't really a big fan of it. It's just kind of Blackbird and 1:35 a.m. mixed together. And it's really weird. I don't like the front cover of it. He looks, the cat guy monster thing. The kid face looks really weird, and I don't like it. Then we have Sea Bonnies. Sea Bonnies is surprisingly a really good story. It's about like a guy, I think his name was Mott. He has some sea bonnies, and he goes to throw his brother's sea bonnies out into the yard, but then the sea bonnies go into his water, and then he drinks the water, and the sea bonnies are inside of him and start eating him, and then he becomes purple, or like bluish purple. Then Together Forever is a really weird story as well. It takes place in a school. It doesn't really have much to do with FNaF, but the main animatronic is Rosie Porkchop, which we've never heard of before, kind of similar to Pig Patch, not a pig robot. But yeah, there's a Springlock suit. These two girls are working on it. One of the girls goes inside the suit, I'm pretty sure, and then gets springlocked. And yeah, all that type of stuff. More springlocks and stuff. Find Player 2 is the third story in Prankster. I'd say it's a pretty good story. I'd say it's in C tier though, not as good as the other ones. It is probably the best story and the only redeeming story in Prankster, honestly. It's about these two girls. They go into a Freddy Fazbear's Pizza with like a maze, a tube maze. Once you see like Chuck E. Cheese and stuff, and like jungles. Well, not jungles, but like there's play areas for kids and stuff where they have like the jungle setting and some stuff you can walk through. And yeah, one of the girls, Mary Jo, I'm pretty sure, gets stuck in this thing and gets lost. And then when one of the other girls goes to find her, she finds her dead body rotting in one of the tubes. So yeah, fun stuff for a book. Then we have Prankster, basically just Help Wanted retold over again with some basic characters. Like you got the main character who's sad. We got the love interest. We have the bully of the gang, who just bullies the main character throughout the whole story. Then we have Kids at Play, D tier. This story is probably one of the worst ones in the whole series. It's just about some play signs, like traffic signs. Like a guy turns into a traffic sign, bro. What is this? What even is this story? Then we have these scrap stories. So that was the end of normal Fazbear Frights. Then we have these scrap stories. We have Felix the Shark. Honestly, a pretty good story. It's just really it takes a while to get to the actually good part. The good part is like in the last 10 pages, where I forgot his name. Derek, I'm pretty sure, gets stuck in a tube, like a big tank with Felix the Shark, and is chased around, and he can't find a way out. The trap door has shut completely, and he is stuck in there now. My what I think is Felix the Shark ate him, or he just drowned in the thing because he ran out in air tank. Then we have the Scoop, really meta story. It talks about like the FNaF fans and FNaF Reddit. That's pretty funny, but it's a really cool story. Same up there with Felix the Shark. Then we have You're the Band. Pretty okay story. It was a bit weird. I got a bit lost at some points. That is the end of the tier list. I hope you guys enjoyed my tier list. You can put a description in the comments below of what you think is your favorite Fazbear Frights story. My favorite is obviously Out of Stock, which is obviously an S tier. I'd say my second favorite is Bunny Call, and then third favorite is probably like Into the Pit. Those stories are pretty cool. I like Fetch as well. Fetch is a really cool story. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.